the resources this has about 40 times more memory than an Arduino does. So if you want to use Arduino, fine as like your processor, but you'll find it's actually easier to use this as the processor because it's 32-bit and has 80K of RAM and all this stuff like that. So you can use it to interface. And I think what people generally say when they say Arduino, it's like, oh, can I use these sensors I bought off SparkFun to connect to it? It's like, yeah, you can. You just plug them straight into this and it works. But you can I can make a connected temperature sensor in 15-20 minutes, which is like, oh, that's kind of good. And the nice thing about it is because it's not a one-off prototyping platform. If you did it with an Arduino, yeah, you could do it as well, maybe half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, but then it would work with that IP address or that Wi-Fi network. And if you moved it to another house, you'd have to reprogram it and load stuff in. With this, it'll just carry on working wherever, and it's secure and it's encrypted, and I can update the software on it anywhere. One thing I did, I drove to Las Vegas for CES a couple of years ago now, and almost a couple of years, and I actually left one of these running from 2 AA batteries in a bush about 140 miles outside Las Vegas. I wrapped it in black tape and wrote, "This is not a bomb" on it. But there was
that was really convincing when somebody found it.
Well, the thing is I wanted to put it somewhere, and I found a mall which had open Wi-Fi. There was no landing page, so it's like, oh, this can connect. And it was about 100 yards away, and I just dropped it, pushed it down in this bush, and I could then, from Las Vegas, log in. It was online. It didn't actually matter where it was. I could log in. I could reprogram it. I was writing air pressure sensor code on it to check the air pressure and plot graphs of air pressure from this bush in Las Vegas. And it's kind of very liberating. It's a different thing. With an Arduino, you're tethered by a USB cable. This is like, where is it? Doesn't matter where it is. It's online. If you're online...
And you can tell whether this is online or not?
Because it connects up to the cloud service, and then you connect to the cloud service with an app or with the web-based IDE. It's just like it's connected. It's a node on the internet.
How long did it run on a couple of AA batteries?
So it depends. I mean, this one I had it waking and sleeping. It'll run about a year waking every 5 minutes, 3 years waking every 15 minutes, reporting in. And I could alter the code, and the code could crash, and I get the crash messages, and I can fix the bug, and without having to run and press a reset button. So it's very liberating. I mean, usually this comes from sort of having made prototypes of things. You stick them on the ceiling, and then it's just like, oh, it's crashed. I'm gonna have to go and get my ladder. Yeah. This is kind of nice, to think
So I was just in Seattle and talking to an entrepreneur who's putting lights into clothing, and she wants the lights to. If there's 100 people with her clothing on, she wants a pattern to go across the clothing, right? So she would use electric imp maybe to connect them.
She could, but it's like the electric imp is more about Wi-Fi, so it's about real nodes on the internet.
Got it.
Generally, stuff on clothing, Bluetooth LE, Bluetooth Smart, what they call it, is really a very good solution for that, because it's phone centric, so it's person centric. If you have a phone, if it's in your bubble, it's fine. But when you get to things like, I have an AC plug with my heater plugged into it, and it's Bluetooth connected, it's like, great, I can control it from where I could walk and press it anyway. Wi-Fi means I can control it from the other side of the world.
And the new modern cars have LTE built in, Wi-Fi built in, so all of a sudden you can, as an entrepreneur, build something for a car.
You can have a car bubble. I mean, with the electric imp, it doesn't need to be connected all the time. So you could have, for example, something which plugged into ODB like Automatic, but every time you came home and it went into it would find your Wi-Fi network and go, oh, hey, I'm just going to upload all the data I collected about your last drive, or your maximum speed or your fuel consumption. You think of a bike computer works the same way. You don't need to have it tethered to a phone. And being tethered to a phone works well for some applications, but there's a lot of applications which it doesn't work so well. Industrial, when there's no person, it's not a personal related thing. And also, say, healthcare, when it's older people, they don't have smartphones, they won't keep the app running, they won't pick the update apps.
No, we interviewed Lively's CEO, and he sets up the network in the factory, so the user never has to touch the network and figure out what the code is and all that fun stuff, right?
So it says a startup using our stuff for elder monitoring, but they do it they have motion sensors and door sensors and so on, which are connected with electric imp. So they're actually basically a sort of something as a service, personal safety as a service. And they data mine all the stuff, like all the when you're in the kitchen every day, when you're in the bedroom, how often you go to the toilet during the night, and they look for changes in patterns and flag that as a possible issue. And so that allowed them to do that without actually really making hardware.
Yeah.
They just went to a Taiwanese partner who makes a motion sensor with an IMP in it. So they just buy these, but they put their own software on them, put their own intelligence in there, and they separated out the actual making of the hardware from the value of their application. And it's a really cool example of how startups now can start to add, the semantic value is the value that they're adding. It's like the safety of your grandparents.
What are you proudest of in here? What was the hardest thing, or what would you be showing off if you met another engineer? And what would you be like, hey, check this out?
It depends how geeky you want to get. There's a lot of...
Get geeky on me.
Okay, there's some really... there's the things personally I'm very proud of. Is it's like we ship revision 1 of the hardware. We're still shipping revision 1, which is actually, pretty good. We've shipped like pretty much 500,000 of these. Same layout, same schematic. We did our homework. Mainly because at a startup, you can get to, before we had funding or anything, I was there just working on it with some of the co-founders, and it's like you have total concentration, and you don't realize how valuable that time is, and it's so great that you get to optimize and do that stuff, which actually in real world you tend to lose a bit. So I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of the embedded code. I'm actually really proud of the solution. I'm proud of it because when someone gets it, you show it to them, they go like, oh, so that does all that for me. I can just think about my plant watering system or whatever, and it's like, yes, you can. And they're like, oh yeah, that's going to save us so much time. This is so cool. Yeah. So it's really the getting it, but there's many things. It's great.
How did you fund the development of your company?
So initially, I cashed in some of my Apple stock when I left Apple. But since then, in 2012, we got raised Series A from Redpoint. Yeah. Really great, really supportive, really helping us with this stuff, really believed in IoT and understood. And a lot of VCs we pitched to went, oh, you're a hardware company. And it's like, well, kind of, but not really. It's like we're a service company. But the point is that the way Apple said, to make great software, you have to make great hardware. You have to actually get the integration, and so they understood that the integration was critical to make this thing work. Seamless is kind of the key thing.
Where do we buy our first one?
SparkFun, DigiKey, Adafruit, anywhere like that. We have great tutorials online. We have a great forum that people hang out in. Lots of places you can find it. Just Google Electric Imp and you'll find out.
Thank you for coming in and showing it to me and telling me some of the old Apple stories.